Hampton. Hampton. Oh!
Jay Hampton. Take him up to the lock number, young fella.
At the moment.
Brooks. Oh!
On the weak side with the finish gets them up.
The dunk. Impressive.
Basketball is a sport that has always laid in the shadow of both footy codes here in Australia, but lately not so much. Hundreds of millions have tuned into Australia's premier basketball league over the past year. But why? Well, the NBL's Next Stars program is why, and in today's video I'm going to be discussing the importance of the program to the sport in Australia, but also the future of the Next Stars program and how it must adapt if it is to stay effective in recruiting young NBA talent. The acquisition of Terrence Ferguson by the Adelaide 36ers in 2016 provided the blueprint for the NBL's Next Stars program. Ferguson would play a season in the NBL and declared for the NBA draft, where he was selected 21st by the Oklahoma City Thunder.
With the 21st pick in the 2017 NBA draft, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Terrence Ferguson from Dallas, Texas, and the Adelaide 36ers in Australia.
This showed that the NBL could manage talent appropriately, leading to the introduction of the NBL's Next Stars program in March of 2018. This decision by NBL owner Larry Kesterman and NBA Chief Executive Officer Jeremy Loliger proved to be a huge success for the NBL. Kesterman, who took over the reins in May of 2015, has been key to the recent success of the sport. It was well known at the time that the NBL was basically on its last legs, as they were without any commercial sponsors and were on expiring TV deal. The league's relevance did not span far from the hardcore NBL fans or the hotly contested NBL finals between the New Zealand Breakers and the Perth Wildcats throughout the early 2010s. I'm sure if you ask most people on the street about the NBL, the only thing they'd be able to link to the NBL is probably Andrew Gaze. Luckily for the NBL, now things have changed. Audiences are at an all-time high, commercial sponsors have come flooding back, and the connection between the NBA and the NBL is stronger than ever. Now, I don't want to get too in-depth about the resurgence of the NBL, as I want to look specifically into the Next Stars program. There'll be more NBL content on the AlphaMales, so we can cover it more comprehensively then, so subscribe for that. Anyways, in March of 2018, the Sydney Kings acquired 5-star prospect Brian Bowen II, becoming the first player to be contracted under the Next Stars program. He, like Terrence Ferguson, did not set the NBL alight, averaging a modest 6.3 points and 3.2 rebounds. Even with both prospects being McDonald's All-Americans, it showed the step up from high school to the pros. It also showed that the purpose of the program was not necessarily for the player to make a significant impact immediately, but to mould the prospect into an NBA-ready pro. In Bowen's case, the NBL route seemed pretty productive, as he would secure a 2-way contract with the Indiana Pacers, even after going undrafted. It was a great start for the Next Stars program in the NBL, but in 2019 we saw the NBL's Next Star program really flourish, as RJ Hampton and LaMelo Ball revolutionised the sport in Australia.
Next year, take my talents to the NBL and play for the Illawarra Hawks.
Excellent, over in Australia.
Yep.
Next year, I will be going overseas to play in the Australian Basketball League with the New Zealand Breakers.
In an internationally televised announcement on ESPN, both players would announce that they would be taking their talents to Australia to play in the NBL. Both guys were ranked in the top 10 in their class and had numerous options globally to play in college, but chose the NBL. Hampton did significantly well grade-wise, but saw the opportunity in going pro, saying,
I just think my dream has never been to play college basketball. My dream has always been to get to the next level and to play in the NBA. So, I think this was the best route for me.
Both players were rumoured to sign contracts around the figure of $500,000, with Hampton also signing a multi-million-dollar shoe deal with Chinese brand Li Ning. The financial opportunities provided through the Next Stars program, like making money off likenesses and earning a significant salary, allows players to gain an understanding of their finances that college-bound players just don't have access to. Top high school recruits see college as a stepping stone, with the educational aspect regarded by many as a burden. Playing internationally allowed both guys to expand their brand internationally and purely focus on their basketball progress. In terms of their on-court production, here it was generally a success. LaMelo had a great season, averaging 17 points, 7 assists and 7.5 rebounds, with his standout game being his first 32-point triple-double against the Cairns Taipans. I think the game encapsulated what the Next Stars program has done for the league. In front of a packed crowd, LaMelo put on a remarkable show. Crafty layups,
LaMelo, hesitation, step, wraps it underneath. Oh, goodness!
pinpoint passes,
Ball guarded by Oliver. Like the look of that one. Drive and dish. Ogilvy.
And deep threes were all on show.
10 seconds to work with. Need a three. They need a three ball. LaMelo. Through his veins.
You can hear the excitement in the announcement crew after each basket as the crowd's atmosphere is electric. Another moment of extraordinary would have to be when Hampton blocks LaMelo and then provides an assist for Corey Webster.
There he goes. Oh! RJ Hampton blocks LaMelo ball on their first possession. The crowd has gone wild. Here's Hampton.
And the stars meet in the sky as Corey Webster bangs it through.
The crowd jumps, waving towels, the smoke releases from the basket. It's just a moment where you appreciate how far the league has come. Now, as we know, LaMelo went 3rd overall in the 2020 NBA draft, while RJ went 23rd, a successful outcome for both players, and for the reputation of the NBL as well. But how about the lesser-known NBL next star, Terry Armstrong? Armstrong was also a next star in 2019 like Ball and Hampton, but didn't see the same success. Granted, Armstrong was not as highly touted, but his inability to get game time in the NBL could be something that makes future high school prospects not come abroad. Armstrong has NBA potential, and his first season outside of high school can be easily compared to the struggles many freshmen have in college. Although freshmen have the assurance of 4 years of development, whilst professional basketballs are in a wild world with no guarantees. In saying this, I don't believe Armstrong's situation reflects poorly on the NBL's Next Stars program, as we could see Armstrong return to the South Melbourne Phoenix and continue developing where he's possibly ready for the next step, which is the NBA. Looking at what's ahead for the NBL and for its Next Stars players, the path isn't projected to be as smooth as the 2019 season successes. The NBA has seen how effective the Next Stars program is, and has created changes to its G League pathway, boosting the potential G League salary to $500K, matching what is offered in the NBL, hoping high school players will stay within the USA. The effects of this have already been felt, with 5-star recruits Jalen Green and Isaiah Todd both being linked to the NBL but ultimately declining to pursue opportunities with the G League. COVID-19 must be also considered as to why both players did not want to relocate, but it is rumoured that both prospects were leaning towards playing in the G League even before COVID-19. Now, it isn't all just doom and gloom for the future of recruiting prospects for the NBL. The G League pathway still does not replicate what can be provided in the NBL. The G League's program is more of an academy program where prospects will be touted by NBA vets and provided with great coaching. The G League's program will include exhibition games against G League teams, but it won't have a proper season. This is a huge advantage for the NBL as it offers a real professional environment where scouts can see how a prospect can fit into a system and can cope with a full-length season, whilst the NBA's G League's developmental program provides a manufactured environment made purely to promote the top high school prospects. There is a definite opportunity for the NBL to target players that aren't necessarily top of their high school draft class, but are the tier below. NBL Commissioner Jeremy Lodliger believes that the target demographic for the NBL are players whose potential is determined on how they can fill a role within a team, or if they are looking to improve their standing with NBA scouts by playing professionally. If the NBA does continue the trend of trying to keep high school prospects within the USA, the NBL can go another route called the draft and stash route. An adjustment in the ruling of the Next Stars program in July of 2019 meant the players that had been drafted in the NBA were able to be stashed by the NBL until the NBA franchise believes that player is ready to take the next step. We have already seen this take place with next star Didi Louzada, who is under the rights of the New Orleans Pelicans, but is currently stashed with the Sydney Kings. He has played well so far in the NBL and is projected to move into the NBA for the 2021-2022 season. The recently drafted prospect, Justinian Jessup, is a Golden State Warrior but will be stashed by the Illawarra Hawks over the coming season. He is already a proven knockdown three-point shooter and is predicted to contribute well in the NBL here in Australia. I think the beauty of the draft and stash players is that these guys are usually proven at the collegiate level or overseas and are considered by NBA teams as being NBA worthy. This means these guys are more likely to be able to produce straight away in the NBL and provide value to the NBL teams with them. The draft and stash route provides more security to the NBL teams that they are going to get production from their next star like the Sydney Kings have with Didi Louzada. If the NBA G League continues to scoop up the top talent, it would only be logical for the NBL GMs to pass over high school prospects that aren't NBA certainties, as they would not be ready to perform similarly to Terry Robinson in the past season. As an NBL fan, I'm hoping that the coronavirus was the main reason these top USA high school talents stayed away from Australia, as these talents are needed for our league to grow internationally. Although in saying this, the coronavirus has secured the best Australian talents in the NBL for the upcoming season. Both Mojave King and Josh Giddey will feature in the NBL under the Next Stars program and could be trendsetters for Australian talent to stay within Australia. Both players are projected to get drafted into the NBA, but it's a mystery where they'll slot into the draft considering we are half a year away from that. It was rumoured both players were looking to go to college but chose to stay in Australia, which is encouraging to see, even if their decision was primarily because of the coronavirus. With Australia's next stars like Mojave King and Josh Giddey, as well as developmental prodigies like Tamari Wigness choosing to stay in Australia, this could create a domino effect where young Aussies believe the NBL is reputable enough to enhance their draft stock. The NBL should be fine in terms of interest for the upcoming season, even if there are questions over the future of the Next Stars program. As we have seen in the past few days, both Will Magnay and Jay Sean Tate have secured NBA contracts, signifying the talent level in the league is at a high standard. If the NBL over the next few seasons can snatch up some top US high school talents, continue in partnership with the NBA for the draft and stash players, and hold on to Australian NBA prospects, we should only expect the NBL to continue to rise in global significance.